Get started.
Scrap City cuts and cuts and cuts.
Okay, this article was located pretty much, it talked about Colorado Springs, Colorado, and the residents there are sick of paying for their city taxes, and they want their city government to pay even more cutbacks. And Tim Austin says, let's start cutting stupid programs that cost taxpayers a lot of money. He's a 40-year-old former home builder who's now looking for a new line of work. He also describes these taxes that it's so bullying and disrespectful to take money from one man's pocket and put it into another's. And in order to start cutting back, they started shrinking their police department, and they started putting their city utilities up for sale. And now they're debating whether or not to sell their hospital, and they have already started slashing salaries and benefits of city employees.
Okay, and for the government, almost a decade ago, voters voted to limit how much the government was spending. And because of this, the government had to try out new ways. And one of their new things they were trying out was to get volunteers in the private sector to provide services that the city could no longer afford. And many cities around the country have also started doing this, such as Duluth, Minnesota, and they rely on the YMCA to pay for their lifeguards at beaches. And also in Phoenix, their trains use volunteers to remove graffiti. And many people believe that the proper role of government should be limited to paving streets, paying police, and firefighters. And if there's money left over, thrills like parks. And there's a vote that went on in which the voters actually decided this, and they decreased the spending by the government. And boosters also think that the moves by Colorado Springs will be adopted elsewhere in the country. And according to Sean Page, a self-described libertarian on the city council, we're a model of how cities can creatively adapt to budget adversity. And he also says you can have a great quality of life without a great big government at the heart of it.
Okay, there were many cuts made in the city. Many vacant positions are now gone. They're encouraging early retirement. They're reducing park maintenance. They got rid of the garbage cans, so they don't have garbage pickup. They're cutting firefighter and police jobs. City buses no longer run on weekends and nights, which is bad for poor people because they aren't necessarily going to have a car and they can't get to work. They're turning off 1/3 of the streetlights, and they're closing a few community centers, which used to keep kids off the streets and out of trouble. The residents are trying to help out the government. Residents can pay $100 to adopt a streetlight. A church has agreed to operate one of the community centers. Supporters have sponsored pizza dinners, jewelry making sessions, bake sales, and a chili cook-off to try and keep other centers open, but this hasn't really been successful. I think the chili cook-off made about $50, and the U.S. Olympic Committee donated $250,000 for sports programs for kids.
Volunteer groups, taxi drivers are now a second set of eyes for smaller police patrols to help keep lookout, since they reduce the amount of police. City officials are hoping to get deals with retailers, which will allow residents to get discounts on riding mowers if they voluntarily cut grass and birds. And there are 38 volunteer groups that have been organized to empty garbage cans in neighborhood parks, and they use a website which allows these groups to communicate and post schedules to sign up when they want to help. And then people are skeptical of how this will work because without community centers there won't be anywhere for kids to go to stay out of trouble, and it's hard to raise money to keep these centers open. People also aren't sure how long the volunteer work is going to last, and unfair and impractical to have a few volunteers while everyone gets the benefits of their work.
That's our article.
Any questions?
Yep.
Most of the cities that you named were bigger cities. Do you think smaller cities would be able to have a program like this with volunteers to cut budgets?
Yeah, I think if anything, the smaller cities would be able to adapt it a lot better than the larger cities. Because larger cities, people don't feel as connected to their city than smaller cities do. Yep.
As far as the community centers, the things that are being cut serve some purpose in the community.
such as like the community center, like the children out of trouble? Are there any alternatives to cutting or raising taxes?
No, I mean, this is a pretty bad, everyone knows this, like right now economically we're pretty bad, so there really are no other choices other than just like having no city government, which obviously is a good thing.
Yeah.
How do you think like the decrease in like police and firefighters is going to affect the residents?
I don't really think it's a good idea because obviously they said they had taxi drivers be like another like set of eyes, which isn't really the best because taxi drivers can't really do anything to stop like crime or anything. So I don't think it's a good idea.
It'll probably also make the public feel less safe since many the street lights have been turned off as well and less police out, so could increase crime.
Any other questions?
Yes. Oh, go for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think once their budget does get back to where it was before, do you think they will continue to have these programs and volunteers? You know, it could save them money in the long run by not having to raise taxes or anything?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting free money, like why would they not keep going? So yeah, I definitely think they would, if it works for them, they'd still go.
Yeah, they said they would save $1 million on closing the community centers. So I don't think that they'd open them up and lose that $1 million.
Oh,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
there.
You said that the city utilities are being sold. Are like they being sold to private owners or just
Private investors, yeah. Any questions?
Do you think that, I don't know, do you think that the volunteer programs for trash collection are really going to work? Because I feel like that's not going to last very long.
I mean, so far they said they've been working, but like I agree. I mean, there's gets to a certain point where you're just like I've done my like 2 months of work and I can see it running out pretty bad.
Yes, sir. You know, I mean, as you learned in economics, right? Nothing is free. In this case, sure, I mean, citizens in cities pay less tax, okay? But point is, they have to contribute to the city by their time, the volunteering work, right? For example, they have to collect the garbage, volunteer for the garbage worker, collection worker on Wednesday. That means this person cannot work on Wednesday. You see? That means it's loss of wage here. You know? The point is, nothing is free, okay? Less tax, but in this case, citizens in these cities are paying the tax, not with money, but with their time. You see that? What do you think the net impact will be? Gain or loss? Which, you know, or which, I don't know, but which do you prefer, paying with money or paying with your time? But as you know, time is money.
I'd personally rather pay with my money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that. Yeah, you might lose money, but
Yeah, it depends on how much, you know, the opportunity cost of your time. You know? Yeah, I mean, if you're a doctor, of course, you will rather pay by simply paying the tax because, you know, doctor earns a lot, you know, for 1 hour. But if you work for the minimum wage, or maybe, you know, you pay with your time or something, right? But point is, right, important thing is nothing is free. You see that, you know, in this case.